Please silence your cell phones. First, if we could have the invocation. Everyone will please rise.
Dear God, thank you for each and every person here tonight. We ask you for safe travels back home. We ask you to give us the wisdom to make good decisions tonight for our parish, for the community. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. We're going to call the initial meeting to order. This will be our zoning meeting. If I can please get the roll call.
Mr. Engler? Here. Mr. Clemens?
Here.
Mr. Watts? Mr. Guidry? Mr. Wax?
Here.
Mr. Dana?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Ms. Ferris? Here. Ms. Long?
Here. Okay, item number 5, public hearing for rezoning requests. I'm going to open the public hearing if we have anybody on this subject. It is case number 24-01-28320, White Oak Lane, Springfield, Louisiana. Good evening.
My name is Rose Sanders. I'm in the 10.
Thank you so much. Do we have anyone else to make any comments, or is there anyone here for this particular request? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. There she is. Reopen that. I apologize. If you could please state your name and sign in, please. I appreciate it. Hi, and your name, please?
Oh,
And your name is?
Paulette Harrison, and that's my husband, Pete Harrison. I live at 28270 White Oak Lane, Springfield, Louisiana. I've been back there 15 years, and we've been having trouble with a lot of flooding back there. Right now it's flooded.
Mm-hmm.
And all on the property, washing my dirt away. Been doing it for a lot of years now. And they've been doing a little bit what they can do, but it ain't enough. It's really not. And what they're trying to do, I don't know what this meeting about.
What they said they was gonna do something.
They're trying to subdivide a piece of property and have it rezoned versus what it's currently zoned for. So they're trying to rezone it so that they can subdivide it.
What part of the property, may I ask, are you
The
trying
one,
to subdivide?
the one at that address, That's
Yes,
on
the
here?
one that's shown,
Yeah, that's
yes.
right next to me.
Okay.
Oh, that's the one your sister has.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the objective is they're requesting that it be rezoned.
Rezone.
Okay, that just, they're just gonna name another zone.
Yeah,
That's
but
all.
I mean,
That
you
ain't gonna
know,
affect us any.
it's not.
No, it shouldn't.
What they trying to build or something?
We can't be sure, but
Oh.
presumably, if they're trying to subdivide it, one would think that that's what they were planning to do, but this is just the first stage of trying to rezone it.
Yeah, but they need a lot of
Okay,
work back
well,
there
as long
before
as-
they can do anything, especially with that ladder ditch.
They can do.
They got trees in there, and it's always flooding
Okay, well,
all
I'm sure.
the time.
We
And like I say,
appreciate-
you know, thank you.
I understand, and we appreciate your making comments and helping us with that information. Anyone else for this particular subject? Okay, now we'll be closing the public hearing, and so any comments?
So currently, the districts that are zoned are 1, 7, and 8. That's the 3 districts that are currently
That's
zoned.
the only 3?
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, the state law says that zoning maps have to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission to be approved.
Well, that was previous with old administration.
it's
So
been
that
state-
was the direction that they were given, and that was,
I understand,
yeah.
but that's what
Yes, sir.
state law.
Yes, sir.
And none of these maps, 1, 2, and 7, or 3 and 7, came before the Planning and Zoning Commission to be approved. So therefore, in my opinion, they're not legal. None of them are legal. And that was one of the things that the Deer Run settlement was all about, is their maps were not approved by the Planning Commission. And that was in the consent decree by Judge Shelley Dick.
Right. And I respect, what you say. However, those maps were done by the procedure of the administration and advisement from council. They were adopted, and until something is changed, that is what we have to go by.
Sure.
So,
But they were never adopted and approved by the Planning Commission by state law. Now, at the last council meeting, Mr. Jerome and the attorney, I think Steve Urban, said that any zoning maps coming forward would have to be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Correct.
And therefore, it's my opinion that those maps, all of them, were done incorrectly and they're all invalid. So,
right.
that's my opinion.
And I'm not here to argue or contradict either way. It's just, this is the rules, the policy that we have, and this is the
Sure.
procedure that we have to take. Yes, sir.
I know in, one more thing. Last year in 2023, we had several zoning requests come in District 7, north of Walker, and it was a recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Committee to not take any action, and we sent it straight to the council for resolution.
There
And-
was an ordinance that was put in place when the previous council adopted the maps, and the procedure for making zoning changes were that it would go to the council within the first year. That year is over with, and now that we have a planning and zoning team to look at things and try to get it all straight for us, the proper procedures, and make sure that they do make changes, and any maps that are adopted from this point on would be legal and able to stand in court if need be. So this is the proper procedure, and it would have to come here first. It would have to come to y'all. So that's what we're here for tonight, if we can move forward with whatever decision that y'all choose to take.
Okay, Ms. Sarah?
So, Mr. Burns, are you leaning towards this commission not taking action and instead moving that towards the council?
I would make the recommendation that while we're waiting on Mr. Jerome and his team and WSP to implement zoning maps for the whole parish, not just 3 districts, and to do it and do it right and not bring lawsuits against the planning commission. To defer until those maps are done officially and correctly by state law. So there's a question about if the planning commission and the zoning commission did not approve those maps, it is my opinion they're not legal. And they were not legal on a Deer Run. The judge, Sally Dick, in the consent decree said they were not legal. District 5 was not legal, so she threw it out and she changed it. So based upon that, I'm saying District 8 is not legal and District 7 is not legal. So I would ask the commission to defer until.
So I'm personally not inclined to defer, but maybe this is a question for Mr. Cassio. I believe if we defer in 60 days, their zoning will be automatically approved. Is that a proper interpretation of state law?
If a planning commission doesn't take an action within 60 days, it's automatically approved.
Well, let me rephrase my statement. Not to defer for 60 days, but defer to the council, to send it to the council for resolution and not us take action based upon them working on.
Until we get a process. That's how, a procedure that I understand myself, and I hope you don't mind me interrupting.
Go ahead, no.
But until we have, we ask for professional help, we have a moratorium to get it set straight. For me to vote for something or against something, I don't know the rules yet. We're waiting to, maybe after this meeting, we'll understand it better. But for me to change something that may not be legal or illegal, I do not see me voting for something to be changed until I know the process myself.
Yeah, and as far as the legality of the current zoning maps, I'm not going to weigh in on that. I wasn't part of that. But I will say that if it's in place until it's challenged and a judge says it's illegal, as long as it's in place, it's in place.
Well, it was already challenged in District 5 and the parish lost.
District
Now,
9, just that district.
Right.
Are you saying that it has to be challenged in every district?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what that lawsuit challenged. Did it just challenge that one district's zoning? Or did it challenge every district?
Only District 5.
And that ruling only pertains to that one district.
So if your belief is that the District 8 zoning map is null and void basis the District 5 zoning decision, then there's nothing to vote on.
Well,
If we did not have a zoning map, we would defer back to the master plan. And the master plan today obviously needs a lot of work, but the best thing that I have to go on outside of that zoning map is the master plan that shows this is agricultural, which is the way that I would propose that we leave it.
Well, the master plan in 2012 and 2013, when we had our hearings, I was the chairman of the master plan committee at that time. It was presented to us as a concept, period. We approved it. When it went to the council approved it under a resolution. It was not done as orders, so therefore it is not law. It's strictly a resolution. Resolutions are non-binding. Ordinances are. Ordinances are law. I'm just giving you this information so you can make informed decisions. That's all. And that's the background I have. The master plan is strictly a concept. It's not law. I'm telling you my opinion on things.
Mr. Clemens.
I've got a couple of ideas here. Number one, if our zoning in District 8 is not valid, then what we have here is a request to zone it, in which case I oppose that. We're in the process of establishing land use maps. We're doing surveys. We're months away from having concrete information for making a good decision here. And as such, I would vote to say no. On the face of it, it wants to rezone a 5-acre tract into the ability basically to subdivide into 1-acre tracts when they state their intention is only to 2 parcels. They wouldn't have been asking for R1 if all they ever wanted was 2 parcels. So I mean, even based on looking at its components here, I don't find that the components fit together well. So personally, I recommend that we say no. We're not going to zone. We're busy working on the maps, and we should let the process work.
And so basically stating that we're not going to rezone something that might possibly not apply, so.
Well, there's two cases.
Therefore
One is,
decline.
if our zoning isn't valid, what they're giving us is a zoning request. If our zoning is valid, then it's a rezoning request. Either way, I oppose it.
You make that as a motion.
Yes, I'll make a motion, we reject the application.
I'll second it.
The motion is to reject the application? Is that what the
To
motion is?
rezone
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Oh, to rezone it.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. We don't,
That's right.
the motion is not to pass it, not to accept it.
And a motion by Mr. Clemens and second by Mr. Norman. You can take a vote, please.
So a yes is a no vote, right?
Yes, means
Saying that right?
Yes, it's a no-go.
Yeah, no go.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mr. Watts? Wax?
Yes.
Yes.
No. But don't count that as a vote.
Did I hear my name?
There we go. Okay, Mr. Dana?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
I abstain.
Okay. Ms. Ferris?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes. Okay. So with,
The recommendation of the planning department to deny it as well. Yep.
Sorry. He said it so
okay.
good, I didn't want
Do
to.
we have any comments otherwise by our attorney, Mr. Cascio?
No, ma'am.
Okay, any engineer comments? Anything else for the department, Ms. Dee? No. Okay, and any other planning commissioners' comments? Okay.
I take that back. I would like to request one thing, and maybe it's stepping out of line, I'm not sure. If whatever direction y'all would like to take, if it is the direction to not hear any rezones, whatever we have to do to, I guess, make that formal, whatever stance you want to take, then it allows us to let the people know whenever they do call and want to do an application for a rezone. So we just need to know to make it easier and more consistent in our office, because that's what we strive to do, is to be consistent.
Well-
So if that is the direction that y'all would like to take, and I fully understand, whatever, y'all need to do as far as if you need to send it to the council for the request or in writing to us.
I brought up the couple of zoning requests north of Walker in District 7. It's my understanding that all the landowners were given their money back. And if that's the case, then we shouldn't make anybody else pay $500 for zoning. If I think it should be, you're right, it should be consistent in my opinion, but I think we ought to kind of wait until we get really official zoning maps that are valid by law. That's just to prohibit self-induced lawsuits. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I
appreciate you.
understand completely as well. So,
Mr. Clemens?
Dee Dee, I don't think we have the ability to say, we are not going to accept any applications. What we can do is we can decide on each one as it comes, and the current feeling, if you will, the atmosphere is, we're going to wait until we have our master plan done and we have good zoning laws in place. But for myself, I would feel this way any future applications, but I don't think I have carte blanche to say we're not going to accept any applications. But I would surely recommend that the people think hard before they bring an application for rezoning right now.
Well, I respectfully disagree with my good friend, Mr. Bryan. I don't think we should be taking any more applications.
all right.
I think what
Thank you.
we'll
That's all
try
I
to
had.
do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think the best
Okay.
course of action might be for us to gather more information between now and our next meeting.
Correct.
And we can have a discussion with a little
Correct.
more clarity at that time. So if everyone is good that, yes, sure.
Mr. Cascio has mentioned to me that we could ask the council to pass a resolution or even ordinance saying, until we have redone a master plan, we could forward that request to the council. And I think that would be in order, so I'd like to make a motion that we do that.
Right, and I think also we need to gather some clarification before we try to do something as formal. And maybe at our next meeting, address it where we have all the correct
Language.
exactly. So, if we, why don't we
then.
plan to make that course of action, if that sounds good?
I'll withdraw it then.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other comments by the commission? Okay, we adjourn our zoning meeting, and we will now enter into our planning meeting. So I open that. Meeting is called to order, and a roll call again, please.
Mr. Engler?
Here.
Mr. Clemens?
Here.
Mr. Watts? Mr. Guidry? Mr. Wax?
Here.
Mr. Dana?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Ms. Ferris?
Here.
Ms. Long?
Here. Okay. Item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a motion? The minutes from August 1st. Okay. Mr. Burns makes a motion.
I'll second
That's
that.
not the special meeting.
And Mr. Clemens will second.
This is the special meeting, right? That was for the special meeting?
Yes. The August, no, that was the
That's
August
the
1st
first.
meeting.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, if you'll take a vote. It was Mr. Wax, yeah.
Mr. Engler?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clemens? Mr. Wax?
Yes.
Mr. Dana?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Ferris?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes. Hey. Okay, item number 4, there's a public hearing. The project is Apex Investment Properties, and this is a preliminary site plan, and it is in District 4, and Macklin Taylor will be here to present it. It's a Highway 16 project.
Yeah, I got you.
If you will please say your name and sign in.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Rudy Simcoe with Macklin Taylor. Yes, this is the Apex Investment Properties. This is a 4.6 acre tract located just west of Highway 16, which is just north of the Magnolia Beach Road intersection. This commercial development is for storage, RV, boat. It's going to be covered areas so that they can rent out these storage areas to whoever may need them. We proposed gravel parking, gravel drives. We've allocated some detention areas to the south, and I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all have.
Okay, do we have any public comments to be made? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. And now, do we have comments, Morgan?
All of our comments have been addressed. We would recommend approval for them to move forward to the next step.
And Planning Department?
We recommend approval as well.
Okay, thank you. Any commission questions or comments?
I have a concern of traffic in the region. Highway 16 all the way from Denham to Watson is virtually at a standstill every evening now. And I just don't know we have room for much more development here, but I'm willing to let it go forward to a traffic study.
Anyone else with any comments?
This storage place
Dana.
doesn't really generate a lot of traffic. I mean, there are some traffic, but it's not like people are constantly in and out like a subdivision or a business.
You're
But
talking about pulling in boats and RVs, which take a lot of time getting in and out of the highway, right there in a very high-traffic area.
So this is on a state route. We will have to submit to DOTD and get permitted, for that, which they're very concerned about traffic and safety and things like that. So I just wanted to add that one.
Like I say, I have my concerns. I'm willing to let you do a traffic study, though, myself.
I agree with Mr. Dana. That's 4-lane road up there.
Yes, sir.
People that go into mini storages traditionally go into them once a week or once a month. And you don't have service workers like going into subdivisions and so forth. Negligible traffic.
I would agree.
I mean, I don't oppose any traffic studies. I'm just telling you it's negligible traffic impact. Not much. It's like going to a cemetery, really, You go once a month to see your family. That doesn't generate much traffic. Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
So I don't see any fence called out around this.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that is the case. So this is a infill development. It's a commercial surrounding it.
Okay. So there's no residences around?
No, sir.
On any of these sides? Okay.
Any other comments? We have any motions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, that was Mr. Burns made the motion and Mr. Norm made the second.
Yeah.
To approve, yes. Okay,
was
if you
actually
could
me.
take a vote, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dana seconded it. I apologize. Forgive me.
You heard it too.
Yeah.
He's too young to be Norman.
Take a vote, please.
Mr. Engler,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clemens,
Yes.
Mr. Wax. Yes. Mr. Dana,
Yes.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Ferris,
Yes.
Ms. Long.
Abstain. Okay, that moves us on to item number 5, the Sunset Hill Event Center. It's a final site plan, and Mr. Rudy will be back up with us. It's on Highway 442, District 9.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so this preliminary site plan previously came before you earlier this year. I believe it was in March. Since then, we've done our drainage impact study. We've reached out to LADOTD, and we've received a permit to access Highway 442. We've incorporated our findings from the drainage impact study, incorporated the ponds and some of the grading and things like that. And now this is the final product, so they can move forward with the development of this property.
Do you have any comments by the commissioners? Okay, how about Ms. Morgan? Anything from,
All of our comments have been addressed. We would recommend approval.
okay, planning?
We recommend approval as well.
All right. The pleasure of the commission.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's Mr. Clemens, and that is Mr. Norman, seconded. If you'll take a vote, please. And that was a vote to approve.
Mr. Engler,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clemens,
Yes.
Mr. Wax,
Yes.
Mr. Dana,
Yes.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Ferris,
Abstain.
Ms. Long.
Yes. Okay, that item was approved. We have item number 6. We're going to have a presentation that is going to update the population charts for the master plan, if we could please.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Jerome Fournier with JPF Planning Consultants, LLC, 5647 Canal Boulevard, New Orleans. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I want to congratulate you on conducting, I think, your first zoning commission meeting, which was quite good. And it's important, as a member of the commission said, that you are the beginning process for zoning matters, all right? A zoning ordinance is in fact an ordinance. It's approved by the council, as are the maps. But you are the beginning spot for making zoning changes and initiating the zoning process. So I congratulate you on doing that tonight. That was well done. The other thing, though, is that I have with me the consultants, WSP. We went out to an RFQ, or request for qualifications, to hire a planning firm that can really do the detailed, get down in the mapping process on a parcel by parcel basis, look at the zoning code, look at the Unified Land Development Code, as well as update the master plan, which was done, I think, in 2012, if I remember correctly, or 2013. So you should be updating those every 5 years. It's been a while, so they're going to help with that update process. But right now, I'd like to introduce Max Nasser and Nathan Lipscomb with WSP, and they can talk about their process, and they have a small PowerPoint presentation to make. All right, thank you.
Okay, one question. I think we've got the wrong item.
Yeah,
This is supposed to be, this is supposed to be with the master plan, yeah.
It was nice meeting you all.
No, nice to meet you. Sorry, that was wonderful presentation and opening, and we will continue that in just a little bit, if that's okay. But yes, please, no, that's fine. Just go ahead so we can continue to follow the agenda, if you would.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Petrie. I'm presenting this information on behalf of the Master Plan Review. And I have the same documents that I had last time, so just in case you need another copy. So if you notice on these two sheets, there's a stapled copy and then there's an original copy right here. And as y'all know, WSP is the firm that's assisting Mr. Fournier with the master plan update. We understand that this is going to take several months, but the review committee has been working on population charts. I did send them to Mr. Fournier earlier, and then I spoke to Mr. Lipscomb before the meeting. And all this is just an update for the population charts. And this is just information that's legitimate from the Census Bureau. Exhibit 1, and I'll give you all a copy also as well. So Exhibit 1, let's see, is on the page from our current plan. That's this one right here. Would y'all like a copy also? Okay. Let me, Okay, so the single copy is the original from the master plan. And if you look at table 1, I have the updated version is on the stapled copy, which is exhibit 2. Everything that's in the white area, that's already there from the master plan. The yellow highlighted areas are areas that was updated from the census, so this is all legitimate websites. Exhibit 3, let's see, let me make sure I don't fast forward. The population for 2010 and 2020 is obtained from the U.S. Census, a credible federal website. That's percent data for 2010 and 2020 in the third column is accumulated by a simple percent change formula. It doesn't show 21, 22, 23, 24 because this is by the decade. So if you look on this other side of this first page for the stapled copy, Exhibit 3, it should replace Figure 2, the bottom image of the single copy, which is right here. It corresponds to the chart, but is a bar graph rather than a line graph, and it presents more updated information. And again, this is by the decade. Now, if you glance on the diagram on page 9 of the current master plan, you'll notice a parish projected comparison of the population. That's this middle area right here. Exhibit 4 is an accurate depiction of the population comparison. That's going to be on the second page. It's the one that looks kind of like a hill. That's an accurate comparison. And all of this has been obtained from the data census website. Exhibit 5, I believe, should be added to assist with Exhibit 4, as it gives more insight and specific numbers with the diagram. Again, going back to that original page 9 on the current master plan, it does show a projection rate for upcoming decades, as Exhibit 4 and 5 do not. However, when you go to that last page of the stapled copy, Exhibit 6 and 7, they do show a projected rate of the parish. The data highlighted in yellow were obtained through the government census website again. The data presented in gray was found by using a simple percent formula. It's important to recognize the projection rate, assuming there are no catastrophic factors affecting the population numbers. Let's see. Okay, I think that is everything I wanted to go over. And I did speak to Mr. Lipson, and he said that this information would be very helpful with the master plan, just because it is legitimate information. And like it's an update from 2013.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it very much. Appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
And we're just asking to adopt it into the new master plan, which would replace the outdated population charts, is what we're asking.
Okay, that'll be taken under advisement, and we would have to put that on the agenda to move forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
From a different perspective. Thank you so much.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it. Okay. Do we have any, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to leap forward, if that's okay, and under our Planning Commission comments, we will now hear you gentlemen, if you would like. Again, if you would just state your names and sign in, please.
My name is Max Nassar. My address is 44426 Edward Guidry Road in Santa Mar, Louisiana.
Nathan Lipson, 4718 Iberville Street in New Orleans.
Thank you very much.
So I'll do a brief introduction of the firm, just to give you an idea of who we are and how we came to be here. And then Nathan, who's our project manager for this effort, will do the presentation and address any technical issues that you might have. So just high level, WSP is a large international consulting firm. We have 5 or 6 different business lines. We do transportation, we do water resources, drainage, advisory services, buildings, energy, and I'm probably missing something. We have had permanent offices in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge for about 40 years each. We're doing some other planning services here in Louisiana, as well as some major drainage and transportation. We have 51 people currently in Louisiana. Myself, I've served on 2 different planning and zoning commissions in my career, and I've also had a short stint, a 1-term council chairman. I didn't like it, so I got out of it and doing what I'm doing now. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and provide these services. Our plan is to go forward with developing a parish-wide zoning map, updated zoning ordinances and classifications, and update to the master plan and unified development code. That's basically what our scope is. Our plan is to have a parish-wide zoning to present in November, and there'll be obviously public hearing processes, public meetings, task forces, a lot of engagement. But Nathan's going to cover all of that.
All right. Thank y'all. So we do have a presentation. I did give this at the council meeting a couple weeks ago, so apologies for those of you who've already seen it. But I'll just go ahead and introduce my team really quickly. So as I mentioned, my name is Nathan Lipson. I'm a transportation planner and urban planner. I'm based in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I've been working all over the state for the last about 7 years. So I've got a large team of folks supporting me. Most of them are in Louisiana. We do have a couple of experts that are outside of the state, but they are experts all across the South. I'm not going to go through the whole team here, but if y'all have any questions about any specific areas, please feel free to let me know. So just to give you guys an overview of what exactly the process has been so far, we've obviously looked at the aforementioned 2013 master plan, so that is going to be the basis for our master plan update. We are looking at what data is in there, what needs to be updated, and looking at what maybe is missing or what can be added for this next iteration. We've also started to build our GIS database, so we've been working with the assessor's office to get a full database of all of the parcels in the parish and to start to look at the existing, or for some districts, the existing zoning, and for others, the recommended zoning. And so we're starting to build those databases out so that we can do the type of analysis that we want to sort of really pinpoint where we have some recommendations for either new zoning categories, reduced number of zoning categories, other areas we think could really be helpful to the parish. And so we've started to look at what's already been recommended and is in place in this parish and compare that to what's in place around the state. So we've started to already look at Ascension and St. Tammany. I know we've already basically taken all of those zoning codes that are in those jurisdictions, compared those to what's in place here, what's missing, what's added, and to sort of try to develop a slate of best practices that are already being employed in the state of Louisiana. So our proposed timeline has been fluctuating, but we're basically trying to get something in the council's hands before that moratorium expiration. So as Max stated, our goal is to get the zoning maps in place, so a full map of the recommended zones and the zoning designations, so the actual descriptions of the categories that are going to be implemented on that map before the expiration of the moratorium. And so if you'll see on our schedule here, the bottom third of that, the zoning and land use update section, that's where we really are going to be starting much of this, because we are working on a sort of curtailed timeline there. I do want to highlight though that we were very cognizant to make sure that we don't push any of the public outreach to the side. That is of key importance to this. I don't need to tell you guys that this is a very active parish. We know that there's people that have opinions about where the zoning should go, and we want to make sure that we hear everybody before we present something as this is our recommendation. So we have programmed in public outreach that will be taking place in the next couple of months. We'll make sure that our task force is informed of when those things are. We're going to be really relying on them to assist us in distributing that information to the parish residents that should be aware of those outreach opportunities. And then once we do have that the new zoning in place that will replace what's existing before the moratorium expiration, we will in spring of 2025 continue on with this process. As you'll see in the calendar, we'll have a lot more public outreach opportunities. We will develop our future land use recommendations, which will then inform perhaps some tweaks to that zoning map or those zoning changes based on what we collect after December 2024. Any questions on the schedule so far? Okay. So I just want to focus really quickly on what this process is going to look like. So I don't want to spend too much time here, but basically we're in the policy and planning section here. So I'm an urban planner, as I mentioned. I'm working with the elected officials in this room and others and the engineers that have the expertise to make these decisions and to make these recommendations. Once those policies and plans have been implemented, we then work with construction teams, developers, contractors that make those plans happen, that use these plans and use the guidance and the restrictions from this plan to create communities. And what I think is the most important part of this sort of process here is making sure that public input at the front end is really driving this process. Because if you don't have that public input, that last block there, the communities is really going to be where the issues arise. So I just like to sort of put everything into perspective there. So this is just to show you all what I already mentioned. We've started to really compare the existing zoning that's in place in Ascension with the parish zoning in Livingston, looking at some of the differences in development restrictions, and to make some recommendations based on feedback we've already heard from council members and from the public. So this is my last slide. This is most important for me. I really, really want to make sure that we get a good, robust public outreach. So if you have any, contacts, please feel free to share this QR code with them. We are just collecting at this point contact information so that we can make sure that when we do have meetings scheduled, everybody that wants to be there can be there. Yes.
Several of us this last couple of weeks have tried to use that QR code that you gave at the council meeting,
Yes.
and the link did not work.
Yes, it was broken for about 24 hours. Have you given it a shot? It should be up and working now.
Haven't tried it since.
All right, we did hear that feedback. I apologize for the confusion there. It should be up and running, and please let me know if you hear that it's not.
I'd like to just clarify a couple of things. One is, we showed an illustration of the Ascension zoning versus the Livingston zoning. That's merely an illustration. We're not trying to make Livingston Ascension. So if anybody's having that idea, let me just go ahead and say, no, that's not the case. And then the other thing, I know that there's been a lot of discussion about legality of the various zoning conditions in the parish right now. Rest assured that the program we put together will certainly withstand the legal challenge. And I'm sure the district attorney will make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate it. Any other comments? No, any attorney comments, please?
None tonight, thank y'all.
Oh, excellent. Always good to hear. And planning department, any comments?
Yes, I have two. President Delat had wanted me to make an announcement that on Monday, September the 9th, from 6 to 8, the Amite River Basin Commission Master Plan will be having a public meeting here. It'll be held in this office, the council chambers, and it is open to the public. They're trying to get some public input to add into their master plan to help with drainage and flooding and things like that. So it is open to the public for whomever, would like to come. Second, tonight is Annie's last night. She is leaving us, and Ms. Kim Email will be the one replacing her, and so she'll be attending the meetings in Miss Annie's position, her place.
Well, we thank you for all that you've done for us.
I figured I'd make her work all night.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you, Annie.
Good
We
luck.
Appreciate everything, and wish you the best of luck.
Yes. Okay, any other comments? Then we are adjourned.